Grease burst onto the silver screen in 1978 with a roar of energy and a pulse of rock and roll that captured the spirit of a generation. From its opening chords, it promised a world where leather jackets and poodle skirts collided in a glorious collision of teenage dreams. Audiences fell head over heels for the electrifying romance between Danny Zuko and Sandy Olsen, and the film's soundtrack became the soundtrack of countless summer nights. More than just a movie, Grease became a cultural phenomenon, its catchy melodies and rebellious flair echoing through drive-in theaters and living rooms alike. Yet behind the dazzling choreography and sunlit smiles lies a tapestry threaded with bittersweet notes. Over the decades, many of the performers who brought Rydell High to life have quietly faded from view, leaving questions that linger like a soft echo. What triumphs and tragedies shaped their journeys after the final curtain fell? Which among them faced battles that would never make it to the hardcover biographies or late-night talk shows? Today, we step beyond the Technicolor glitz to uncover the hidden stories of those beloved actors who have passed on, whose voices and footsteps remain etched in celluloid but whose real-life narratives took unexpected turns. In this channel, we dive deep into the lives behind the roles, exploring not only their on-screen magic but the scars and victories they carried off-camera. We'll trace the footsteps of performers whose laughter once filled the halls of Rydell High, only to face private storms that tested their very souls. From early triumphs on Broadway to later struggles with health, scandal, or heartbreak, each story reveals a compelling portrait of resilience and loss. These are not mere footnotes in Hollywood history, they are chapters rich with nuance, conflict, and the raw humanity that makes their legacies unforgettable. What are these actors doing now, beyond the final cut? How did the spotlight that once illuminated their lives shift to cast long shadows in quieter corners? In the coming segments, we will shine a light on 10 extraordinary individuals whose contributions to Grease helped cement its place in cinema history, and whose final acts offer lessons on fame, fortune, and the fragility of life itself. If you've ever wondered what happens to the faces behind your favorite movie moments, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss a single revelation. Together, we'll honor the memories of these talents, celebrate their achievements, and confront the sorrows they endured. Let's begin this journey through nostalgia, depth, and the sensational truths hiding just beyond the credits. Olivia Newton-John, the 26th of September 1948 to the 8th of August 2022. Olivia Newton-John was born into a family of performers in Cambridge, England, and grew up under the southern sun of Melbourne, Australia. By the time she arrived on the set of Grease in 1978, she had already charted a series of international hits and won hearts with her clear, emotive voice. At age 29 she slipped effortlessly into the role of Sandy Olsen, the sweet newcomer whose gentle innocence concealed a steely resolve. Her chemistry with John Travolta sparked on screen and transformed Sandy's journey into the film's most unforgettable arc. Audiences cheered as she shed her poodle skirt and white dress to embrace a new confidence, and in that moment Olivia herself became a symbol of reinvention and daring authenticity. After Grease rocketed her to superstardom, Olivia returned to music with groundbreaking albums that blended pop, country, and soft rock. She won multiple Grammy Awards and became an ambassador for kindness and optimism. Yet in 1992 she faced her first battle with breast cancer. Ever the consummate professional, she navigated surgery and recovery with humility, then turned her own hardship into a mission to help others. She founded a wellness and research center in Melbourne that offered emotional, physical, and holistic therapies to survivors. 2 decades after her initial diagnosis, she endured a recurrence that spread to her shoulder and spine. Again she fought publicly and fearlessly, using her platform to raise awareness and funds. Behind the headlines she grappled with personal sorrow. The loss of her sister and the death of longtime partner John Easterling added deep layers of grief to her life story. Yet Olivia continued to nurture young musicians, mentor fellow survivors, and pour her creative energy into songwriting and painting on her ranch in Southern California. Even as illness advanced, she remained a loving presence for her fans, answering letters and sharing messages of hope. When she passed at age 73, the world mourned not only a performer but a healer whose compassion matched her talent. Olivia Newton-John's life mirrored Sandy's transformation, from gentle vulnerability to bold strength. Her journey reminds us that true courage lies in embracing change, and that our greatest challenges can become the wellspring of our most profound contributions. Her voice may have fallen silent, but the echoes of her warmth and resilience continue to inspire. Jeff Conaway, the 5th of October 1950 to the 27th of May 2011. As Kenicky, Danny Zuko's best friend and fellow greaser, Jeff Conaway embodied swagger and vulnerability in equal measure. His smirk sent puffs of cigarette smoke into the Rydell High air, yet behind those cool blue eyes lay a restless spirit searching for more than teenage thrills. Before Grease, Jeff had already proven his chops on Broadway and television, but it was his raw, kinetic energy on screen that seared Kenicky into our memories. Strutting through Greased Lightning, he owned every chord and every spotlight. Outside the grease paint, Jeff's life was a tumultuous ride. The adulation he received after Grease gave way to darker applause, his own cravings for escape. Battling addiction for years, he drifted through stints in rehab and public meltdowns that made tabloid fodder. Friends and colleagues watched in anguish as the man who once sparkled under marquee lights sometimes seemed crushed by the shadows of his own fame. Yet even at his lowest, Jeff's passion for performance never dimmed. He returned to theater, taking on gritty roles that mirrored his inner struggles, and opened up on talk shows with brutal honesty about addiction's grip. In interviews he spoke of Kenicky's rebel without a cause spirit as something he both celebrated and feared in himself, a young man who wanted to prove he mattered, often at any cost. In May 2011, complications from pneumonia and his longtime substance battles claimed Jeff's life at just 60 years old. The news reverberated through Hollywood. The boy who danced with Danny and sung of shining cars had run out of fuel on life's highway. At his memorial, former co-stars recalled his generosity, how he'd shield younger actors from tough critics, and his fierce loyalty to friends who stood by him through every setback. Jeff Conaway's story reminds us that charisma can mask deep wounds, and that the glint of stardom can sometimes blind us to a performer's plea for help. As we watch Grease today, let's honor Kenicky's spark while never forgetting the man behind the leather jacket, whose final act was a cautionary tale of fame's double edge. E.D.D. Burns, the 30th of July 1932 to the 8th of January 2020. Ed Burns grew up in Minneapolis as the son of a factory foreman and a devoted schoolteacher mother who nurtured his early fascination with radio dramas and jazz records. By the time Hollywood came calling, he had already built a reputation on live television, most famously as Cookie in the hit series 77 Sunset Strip. In 1978, at 46 years old, he stepped onto the Grease soundstage to play Vince Fontaine, the suave DJ who ignites the Rydell High dance contest with Born to Hand Jive. His effortless cool turned that sequence into an anthem of teenage rebellion, and his improvised eyebrow cock and half-smile became the signature moves that defined the era's cinematic swagger. Behind the scenes, Burns carried both ambition and quiet heartache. He entered fatherhood in his mid-30s only to endure the unthinkable loss of his firstborn son in a tragic accident. Close friends remember him retreating into night-long drives along the Pacific Coast Highway, the engine's roar serving as a fragile shield against grief too deep for words. That private sorrow imbued his performances with a bittersweet edge, making audiences feel a vulnerability that lay beyond the leather jacket. After Grease's explosion of fame, Ed returned to television guest spots, embraced regional theater roles, and pursued character parts in independent films. While some critics praised his ability to pivot from smooth-talking host to rugged stage actor, others noted a pattern of cancelled projects and sporadic appearances that hinted at personal battles beneath the surface. Health setbacks in the 1990s, including a series of strokes and chronic respiratory failure, further limited his on-screen presence, yet he never entirely abandoned the craft he loved. Colleagues recall one surprising moment during filming when he insisted on performing a complex sequence without rehearsal, trusting purely on instinct. That gamble paid off and became one of the film's most electrifying highlights, a testament to his fearless approach to transformation. In final years, surrounded by framed stills of Vince Fontaine, he welcomed visitors with stories that wove triumph and tragedy into a single tapestry. When complications from stroke and respiratory illness ended his life on the 8th of January 2020 at 87, Hollywood lost more than a magnetic performer. It lost a man who had danced with joy and with pain under the same spotlight, whose legacy reminds us that every golden moment on screen can cast shadows off camera. Eve Arden, the 30th of April 1908 to the 12th of November 1990. Eve Arden arrived on the Grease set as Principal McGee with the grace of a seasoned stage comedienne and the iron will of a schoolma'am who had seen it all. Born Eunice Q. Dens in Mill Valley, California, to a nurse mother and a father who worked in lumber, she cut her teeth in vaudeville troupes before conquering Broadway in the 1930s. By 1978, at 70 years old, she slipped effortlessly into the role of Rydell High's no-nonsense principal, her sardonic eyebrow lifts and perfectly pointed bobs reminding cast and crew alike that discipline could be delivered with a sly wink. Long before the poodle skirts and leather jackets, Arden made her name opposite Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire in Hollywood musicals, then became a radio star whose crisp delivery and razor-sharp timing earned her the nickname the girl with wit to spare. Yet behind her polished poise lay a tireless work ethic born of financial hardship during the Great Depression. Friends recall her rehearsing lines late into the night in front of her bedroom mirror, determined to make every reprimand land with comic precision. On Grease, Arden persuaded director Randall Kleiser to let her ad-lib a memorable line that became one of the film's most quoted moments. She later told interviewers that her toughest critics were the young actors themselves, for whom she quietly reminded that education came before entertainment, even as she coaxed their best performances with gentle humor. After filming Wrapped, she returned to television with guest roles showcasing her trademark deadpan delivery, and in 1980 she won an Emmy for her work on a medical drama. Despite ongoing battles with diabetes and declining eyesight, she maintained a sharp mind and mentored aspiring actresses, critiquing scripts with the blunt affection of a beloved aunt. When Eve Arden died of heart failure on the 12th of November 1990 at the age of 82, Hollywood lost a rare blend of wit and wisdom. Her legacy lives on not only in the halls of Rydell High but in every teacher who balances firm expectations with a knowing smile each time Principal McGee rounds up her misfit students. We see Arden's enduring lesson that laughter can be the fiercest form of authority and kindness the most unforgettable discipline. Sid Caesar, the 8th of September 1922 to the 12th of February 2014. Sid Caesar arrived at Rydell High as Coach Calhoun, bringing with him a lifetime of comedic mastery that stretched back to the earliest days of television. Born in Yonkers, New York to immigrant parents who ran a small candy store, he discovered his flair for performance in local amateur shows before serving in the Army during World War II. After the war, he teamed with Imogene Coker to create Your Show of Shows, where his rapid-fire sketches and fearless physical comedy won him household recognition. In 1978, at 55, he took on the role of the gym teacher whose sardonic pep talks and unexpected softness for his students added both humor and heart to Grease. On set, Caesar applied the same improvisational genius that had made him a pioneer of live comedy 40 years earlier. Castmates recall a rehearsal where he slipped on a stray prop balloon and turned the fall into a brilliant riff that had the entire crew roaring with laughter. His ability to transform small moments into comedy gold reminded everyone that there was no substitute for timing and genuine surprise. Cinema goers may remember him barking encouragement at Danny and the Pink Ladies, but behind the playful facade lay a man who understood the power of laughter to mask deeper fears. Beyond the laughter, Sid grappled with personal challenges. He endured marital strife and health setbacks, including a near-fatal heart attack in the 1960s that forced him to confront his own mortality. Friends say he channeled that brush with death into even greater dedication to his craft, refusing to let anything dim his spark for performance. In his later years, he faced eyesight deterioration yet continued to mentor young comedians, offering notes on script pacing and anecdotal wisdom drawn from decades in the spotlight. When Sid Caesar passed away on the 12th of February 2014, complications from emphysema and heart disease claimed the life of a man who had taught generations that laughter could heal wounds unseen. Each time Coach Calhoun's booming voice challenges the Rydell High students to aim higher, we feel the echo of Sid's own journey from small-town boy to television legend. His legacy reminds us that even the greatest performers carry untold stories behind their smiles, and that true genius lies in turning life's trials into moments of shared joy. Joan Blondell, the 30th of August 1906 to the 25th of December 1979. Joan Blondell was born into a vaudeville family in New York City, where her parents ran a touring variety act that blended tap dance and comedy. As a child, she slept backstage and learned timing from watching performers move under footlights. By the time she reached Hollywood, she had already mastered life's improvisations. In 1978, at 72 years old, she stepped onto the Grease soundstage to play Vi, the diner owner whose warm authority framed every teenage drama. Her presence lent the Frosty Palace a comforting anchor and reminded viewers that wisdom often arrives in unseen wrinkles and gentle smiles. Long before poodle skirts and motor oil-fueled romance, Blondell stood beside legends of early cinema. In the 1930s, she became one of Warner Brothers' brightest stars, delivering rapid-fire dialogue opposite James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart during the depths of the Depression. Her quick wit and indomitable spirit offered moviegoers both laughter and hope. Backstage, she balanced long days of filming with caring for her ailing mother and mentoring younger actors who marveled at her generosity. One surprising anecdote tells of her stepping in to coach a nervous ingenue by reading lines in a smoky dressing room until the tremor left her voice. On Grease, she infused Vi with knowing glances and off-the-cuff humor. During the Summer Nights sequence, she spontaneously ad-libbed a soft chuckle that Randall Kleiser kept in the final cut because it captured VI's loving exasperation. That improvised moment became one of the film's most quoted gestures and revealed Blondell's gift for finding truth in comedy. After Grease, she returned to television, earning Emmy nominations and touring regional theaters where she refused to let age dictate her roles. Even as she faced declining health from lung cancer, she maintained rigorous work habits, rehearsing lines in her final weeks. She taught acting classes in her Los Angeles home, sharing lessons drawn from a career spanning 6 decades. When Joan Blondell passed away from complications of lung cancer on the 25th of December 1979, her family, colleagues, and countless fans mourned a performer whose life embodied resilience and warmth. Each time VI's kind voice rises over jukebox tunes, we remember Joan Blondell's enduring legacy, the power of laughter born from hardship and the grace of a spirit that never faded from center stage. Dodie Goodman, the 28th of October 1914 to the 22nd of June 2008. Dodie Goodman brought to Grease's Rydell High a twist of eccentric warmth as Blanche Hodel, the diner regular whose anxious chatter and wide-eyed sincerity grounded the film in everyday humanity. Born into a modest Missouri family, she discovered her gift for comic timing in New York City's burgeoning theater scene of the 1940s. Before she ever stepped into Blanche's shoes, Dodie enchanted Broadway audiences with whimsical character roles and won acclaim on early television variety shows for her infectious energy. At 63 years old in 1978, she wandered into the Frosty Palace set wielding a simple script yet infusing every line with unpredictable flair. Castmates whispered that her nervous giggle during their Summer Nights scene was not scripted but sprung from a backstage prank that left her trying desperately to maintain composure. That genuine vulnerability turned Blanche into an audience favorite. Viewers saw in her a reflection of themselves, imperfect, hopeful, eager to belong. Off-camera, Dodie guarded her private life with fierce devotion. She married young and balanced career demands with raising 2 children. When her husband's business collapsed in the 1960s, she took on extra roles in regional theater to keep the family afloat, demonstrating the resilience that would define her legacy. Colleagues remember her generous spirit, sending flowers to fellow actors' hospital beds or hosting midnight script readings in her modest Manhattan apartment. After Grease, she continued to appear on stage and television, earning a Tony nomination in the 1980s and lending her voice to animated films in the 1990s. Yet health challenges emerged with the passage of time. A bout of pneumonia in 2005 and recurring bouts of bronchitis reminded her that age spares no one, not even the most beloved character actors. She remained undeterred, attending fan conventions into her 90s and sharing anecdotes about Blanche's accidental rise to fame. When Dodie Goodman passed away on the 22nd of June 2008 from respiratory complications at the age of 93, the world lost a piece of its comic heart. Each time we glimpse Blanche Hodel's jittery charm, we honor a performer whose life was a testament to the transformative power of humor and the quiet courage of keeping laughter alive against all odds. Alice Ghostley, the 14th of August 1923 to the 21st of September 2007. Alice Ghostley arrived at the Frosty Palace as Mrs. Murdoch, bringing with her a lifetime of gentle eccentricity honed on stage and screen. Born in Eve and Jesse Ghostley's home in Eve and Jesse's small town of Eveville, Arkansas, she discovered her love of performance in church plays before studying drama at the Pasadena Playhouse. By 1978, at 55 years old, she slipped into the role of the sweetly bewildered Mrs. Murdoch, whose wide-eyed bewilderment in the midst of teenage antics offered a soft counterpoint to the film's brash energy. Alice's delicate voice and subtle facial tics lent the character a warmth that reminded audiences of a kindly aunt watching over her rambunctious nephews. Before Grease, Ghostly had built a distinguished career on Broadway, earning a Tony nomination for her portrayal of the daydreaming Muzzy Van Hosmeer in Stephen Sondheim's Follies and winning Emmy Awards for her turns as the innocent neighbor Esmeralda in Bewitched. Colleagues admired her impeccable timing and her gift for infusing every line with offbeat sweetness. On the Grease set, she quietly advised younger cast members to find the truth in their emotions even amid the most farcical moments. Crew members recall her offering cups of tea between takes and testing new improved lines that made Rydell High smile behind the camera. Off-camera, Alice lived with a deep devotion to privacy. She never married or had children, preferring to pour her nurturing spirit into her art and her friendships. After Grease, she continued to delight television audiences in memorable guest roles and lent her voice to animated classics, proving that her gentle charm transcended medium and generation. Despite bouts of arthritis that slowed her beloved gardening work, she maintained a steadfast belief in the healing power of laughter and kindness. In September 2007, complications from a respiratory infection claimed Alice Ghostly's life at age 84. Hollywood mourned the passing of a performer whose quiet brilliance reminded us that comedy need not be loud to be unforgettable. Each time Mrs. Murdoch hesitates at the diner counter or offers that soft-spoken question, we feel Alice's enduring gift, the gentle reminder that true warmth often arrives in the softest voices. Susan Buckner, the 28th of January 1952 to the 2nd of May 2024. Susan Buckner grew up in Seattle, Washington, as the only child of a devoted schoolteacher mother and a pragmatic civil engineer father whose blueprint-lined study ignited her curiosity for structure and performance. Long before she ever set foot on a Hollywood lot, she organized neighborhood talent shows in her family's living room, choreographing routines to the radio hits of the early 1960s. By the time she won the Miss Washington crown in 1971 and placed among the top 10 finalists in the Miss America pageant, she had already learned the art of poise under pressure and the power of a genuine smile. At 26 years old, Susan arrived on the Grease set in 1978 to embody Patricia "Patty" Simcox, Rydell High's relentlessly optimistic cheerleader. In the iconic cafeteria sequence, her sudden, improvised toss of the pompons caught the bright studio lights just so. An off-the-cuff flourish that director Rydell High later admitted he could not bear to cut. That spontaneous moment revealed the surprising confidence of an actress whose early television work on the Dean Martin show's Gold Diggers ensemble had taught her to hold the stage with warmth and sincerity. Viewers laughed when Patty lectured the Pink Ladies on cleanliness, yet recognized in Buckner's earnest eyes the genuine kindness that anchored every quip. After Grease transformed her into a familiar face nationwide, Susan Buckner stepped back from Hollywood's frenzied pace to build a quieter life in Florida. There she married her college sweetheart and devoted herself to raising 2 children, applying the same discipline she had once shown in pageant preparation to directing school theater productions. She earned certification as a fitness instructor and became a beloved mentor, leading aerobic classes for senior citizens and coaching drama workshops that bore the imprint of her signature encouragement. In the final years of her life, she returned occasionally to conventions and charity events where fans greeted her with gratitude for the joyful spirit she had brought to Grease. Surrounded by family in her Miami home, Susan Buckner passed away peacefully on the 2nd of May 2024 at 72 years old following a brief illness. Her death was marked by tributes celebrating both the effervescent cheerleader she portrayed and the real-life warmth she spread as teacher, coach and friend. Each time Grease flickers to life on screen and Patty Simcox bounds back into view, we remember Susan Buckner's enduring gift, the courage to shine brightly and the grace to illuminate every room she entered. Annette Charles, the 5th of March 1948 to the 3rd of August 2011. Annette Charles was born in Los Angeles to Mexican-American parents who ran a small bakery in East Hollywood, instilling in her a deep sense of community and the joy of shared stories over sweet confections. From an early age she gravitated toward performance, enrolling in local dance troupes and school plays while her mother encouraged every pirouette and her father taught her the value of perseverance. By the time Hollywood came knocking, she had honed her craft at theater workshops and regional festivals, earning respect for her vibrant energy and heartfelt delivery. At 30 years old, Annette stepped into the role of Charlene de Gregorio in Grease, transforming the brassy visitor from New York into an unforgettable foil for Sandy and Frenchie. During CHA's solo at the Rydell High dance contest, Annette's commanding presence electrified the gym floor. Her precise choreography and sultry vocals breathed life into the character, making every step seem both practiced and daringly spontaneous. Crew members later revealed that her trademark hip swivel was a last-minute addition, born from Annette's own background in Latin dance traditions. Director Randall Kleiser kept the move in the final cut, knowing it captured the true spirit she brought to the screen. After Grease, Annette Charles returned to her first passion of teaching, earning a master's degree in bilingual education and dedicating herself to empowering underprivileged youth. She combined drama workshops with language instruction, using storytelling to bridge cultural divides and ignite confidence in her students. Though the glitz of Hollywood faded, she remained connected to the arts as a guest lecturer at local colleges and occasional panelist at film festivals where fans celebrated her CHA charisma. In her later years, she faced a courageous battle with colorectal cancer, confronting the illness with the same grace that had defined her career. She continued to mentor young actors from her hospital room, sending scripts and notes to keep their spirits high. Surrounded by family and former students, Annette passed away on the 3rd of August 2011 at the age of 63. Her legacy endures each time CHA steps into view, a reminder that true artistry transcends fame and that the most lasting performances are those that inspire others to find their own spotlight. Grease endures as a vibrant tapestry of youth and rebellion, electrified by unforgettable melodies and dynamic characters whose dreams and dramas still resonate decades later. On the surface, it is a sunlit celebration of teenage freedom, but beneath its catchy tunes lies a complex web of ambition and heartache. Danny and Sandy find transformation through love, while flashing engines and poodle skirts mask personal struggles that remain hidden until we shine a light on the lives behind the roles. Olivia Newton-John soared from shy newcomer to bold heroine, only to face battles far fiercer than any script could demand. Jeff Conaway's bravado as Kenichi belied a cycle of addiction and redemption that he fought with raw honesty. Ed Burns brought rock and roll swagger to Vince Fontaine even as he mourned a loss no spotlight could heal. Eve Arden dispensed wit with a sly smile while steering her own journey through hardship and triumph. Joan Blondell lent warmth and laughter but carried the weight of single parenthood into every scene. Sid Caesar taught us that laughter can conceal deepest fears yet also offer the greatest healing. Dodie Goodman reminded us that humor arises from life's rough edges. Alice Ghostley showed that gentle kindness holds immense power. Susan Buckner embodied unshakable optimism and then chose compassion over fame. Annette Charles staked her claim on the dance floor and later on classroom stages where she inspired new generations. Some stars continued to shine on screen long after their Grease appearances, while others stepped away to nurture families or community dreams. A few battled health crises in silence until the final curtain fell. Some found new purpose in charity and teaching, while others wrestled with sorrow that no encore could mend. Their successes and failures compose a testament to resilience and the unpredictable journey of life beyond Hollywood glamour. If you've ever wondered what happens when the cameras stop rolling, you have seen just a glimpse of these remarkable stories. Each actor taught us that fame is fleeting but spirit endures. Subscribe now and join us as we explore more hidden chapters of cinema history and uncover the untold sagas behind your favorite films. Stay with us for deeper revelations and emotional journeys that go far beyond the screen.